I'm here today to answer a question, which is, what is the difference between reckless driving, careless driving, and stunt driving? Let me first focus on the charge of reckless driving. Reckless driving is not an offense known to any Ontario legislation or Canadian Criminal Code legislation. That particular phraseology, we would call it, is generated from our proximity to the United States. Whether that be New York or Michigan, we are so close to those states that, and we are there so often, we have friends and family that go back and forth across those borders. You often hear this word, reckless, our words, reckless driving. There are no offenses in Ontario, or Canada for that matter, of reckless driving. It's what I'll call a euphemism or an overworked phrase for charges involving a motor vehicle which could be careless. Sometimes it's even confused with stunt driving. I wanted to define exactly for my clients or anyone who chooses to listen to this particular vehicle what that difference is. So to recap and put that issue to bed, there is no offense known in Ontario of reckless driving. Usually what I found over 40 years of doing this type of work is that there's a common confusion between reckless driving and careless driving. So once investigated, once I've conducted an interview with the client, I usually determine that it's careless driving. Careless driving is an offense. It's not a criminal offense, however. It's under the Highway Traffic Act of Ontario. It's a significant offense. It's arguably one of the most difficult offenses or the most scary offenses under the Highway Traffic Act. Certainly an offense that you're going to need some professional help with. That particular offense really deals with, in most cases, some type of driving behavior. I would say 98% of the time that has to do with an accident. There's some sort of event that deals with property damage. It deals with personal injury. There are events, there's a protracted series of events, some improper turns, speeding, culminating in this offense known in Ontario in the Highway Traffic Act as careless driving. People confuse recently careless driving and stunt driving. They are distinct. In most cases, there is, for stunt driving, for example, there is an element of driving. So that may be you've lost traction with your vehicle and you've caused some sort of a noise. You're in the process of turning and you've done sort of a burnout or a slide out. That could be considered stunt driving, but that's all it would be. You're not going to see a careless driving charge evolve from that sort of a factual scenario. You would, speeding is generally the most common way that a client would be walking in or calling this firm. Speeding is probably the most common generator of a stunt driving ticket here in Ontario. So the best answer to the question is how you keep the three of those things distinct is probably to call a company such as ours and ask, you know, I've been charged with this. You can read the ticket or the summons and it's going to tell you, is it careless driving or is it stunt driving? So the answer is going to be, you're not going to read on the ticket or summons reckless driving. You will read careless driving or stunt driving. Different, but both very serious. And I would recommend you reach out to OTD Legal and get a free consultation.